Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. As I film this video, it is the 2nd of July 2023. Hi. When we were children in the noughties, we called these videos at times updates.
I'm back again. I thought it was about time I updated you.
That was cringy, but yes, this is me updating you. In some way, it's not a life update. It is my life and what it has been and what it will continue to be. But for the sake of things, yes, this is an update. The summary is, I have been struggling my entire life. The journey's been exceptionally complicated. I've been in the NHS's healthcare system, specifically for mental health, for about 18 years, on and off. I've done everything imaginable to get better.
I am trying to be better. I'm still trying.
So I was trying and I was fighting,
And I'm trying so hard.
just keep trying, and that's that. And I'm trying various things to the extent of what I can achieve within the life I'm living. I've gone through things I don't even want to reference, it's too distressing. Everything I could have done, I have done, and it's only gotten worse. So after everything I've been through, in May of 2023, I was assessed for being autistic. In June of 2023, I was given the outcome.
Thank you. Bye.
And yes, I am autistic. I haven't just suddenly become autistic. I have always been autistic, and I will continue to be autistic. It is possible I may also be, alongside being autistic, struggling with ADHD. And this is where the second explosion may go off inside your brains. The ADHD portion of this journey is entirely related, but frustratingly, autism and ADHD are segregated within the NHS. And so as I sit here today, I am probably about 2, maybe 3 years away from being assessed for ADHD. But I can say I'm autistic, which also means I can say I'm neurodivergent. That's like the umbrella term to try to explain to those of you who are trichers. So we have trichotillomania, dermatillomania, and then you have BFRB as an overarching term. So neurodivergence is the overarching term for anybody that deals with, or is, many of the things that come under that umbrella. So I can say that I'm neurodivergent. I can actually say it. It's hard to explain how we've gone from depression and anxiety to ADHD and being autistic. It's not a case of suddenly self-diagnosing, both the autism and the ADHD.
Bipolar, ADHD, ADD, depression.
There is a journey. But as a younger person, even as a minor, some of my issues were being explained by other difficulties. So it's important to say that regardless of the titles of what I deal with, the issues have always been there. I have previously been misdiagnosed. And as I've said, I've been diagnosed so many times, it just gets to a point when you're like, I don't know whether I'm coming or going. That person thinks I might have bipolar, but that person thinks I have autism, but that person says I have 2 personality disorders. And then I've had depression, anxiety, social phobia. It was explained by other things that I was diagnosed with or told that I was potentially dealing with. So for example, when I was 18 years old,
Doctor was saying on Wednesday that he thinks I have hypomania, which is a symptom of bipolar. The fact that my thoughts race really, really fast and I can't concentrate.
Now the healthcare service has changed during my lifetime, so the way in which I experience things years ago may not be how it is today, but it's still valid because it was what it was like when I was growing up.
And even now, I'm not necessarily getting support.
I'm getting mixed signals from various medical professionals.
What? Oh my goodness.
Being diagnosed for the most part doesn't really explain anything new to me. Let's talk about my brain.
I just want to express what's in here, that's all.
I wish you guys were inside my head so you could see and you could understand exactly how I feel, because I honestly...
When I was little, it was quite evident I was always darker, thinking a bit more maturely than I think I should have been. It's evident that there's more than just depression now. I mean, life is a roller coaster, it's continuously going up and down, but for me, there's elements of my life that are continuously on a low. I see the world in a very different way. I sort of feel and think on a level that lots of people don't process at.
There's so much going on in here.
This is what goes on in my head. It's just the way my brain is wired. It's just how my brain works, or doesn't work. It's just different to yours. I am very unhappy, I'm very tired, and I'm very stressed.
Stressed on a daily basis. I'm unwell to the point where I am not functioning.
and I am exhausted. My brain hurts every day. I feel like I'm in pain. I have been suffocating on a scale which I don't believe anyone will appreciate I'm struggling at. I feel I'm holding in so much. I know that my brain works differently. There's a reason that I'm like this. It's been about a decade since my mum realised that I had autism. We used to say had. Until I was about 26, I was still saying had. My mum was already like, yeah, this is it, this is it. But my mum was shut down as well, not just me. I've had her silenced while sitting beside me. In my healthcare record, there's loads of notes about my mum. My mum has done so much for me behind the scenes in my life, more than people realise. She has been my voice. It's worth saying that this diagnosis is not just important for me, but it's important for the people around me too, my mum especially. Moving on, I had to self-diagnose years before the NHS would even listen to me for a referral. There's a few other things that have been going on inside my mind. I've had a few revelations in terms of my own body and the way it works, which has completely changed my perspective on myself and the world around me. For example, I keep pushing my doctor for bipolar and autism. Some people already have said to me, well, it can't be that bad if you're diagnosed at that age, which is to be expected. I am a 30-year-old woman. When things are not diagnosed in childhood or before the age of 18, time just melts in adulthood. You lose so many years. With all the waiting lists and assessments and reassessments, waiting lists are horrendous. Once you've been diagnosed with something, you're sort of patted on the head and shuffled under the carpet. I haven't been supported. I felt fobbed off. In my brain, it was like I was literally fighting for my life and being told, bye-bye. I've got to keep asking for help whilst simultaneously battling my disorders and problems on my own. I'm on a very long pathway to finding out what I have, and it's just frustrating how time-consuming it is. Hopefully we will get there. It's going to take time. So I have always been neurodivergent. I have never been neurotypical, even though I may have tried to mimic neurotypicalness. It's even harder to explain because neurodivergent people do this thing where we mask. Some people refer to it as acting. So sometimes I do manage to do things and then I break down afterwards. It doesn't come across like we're struggling at all, but we are inside. I learned as a child to perform to the cameras. Would you say performing or masking? I was mimicking neurotypical behaviour. Mimicking what was expected, maybe. In a vlogging format, I'm not able to understand myself yet to know when I am masking and when I'm not. What is me? What is masking? I have an idea. There's very different types of Rebecca.
You always see me smiling, blabbing.
Sure, she's got other things to do.
Yeah, well, all you want to do is go, oh, hi, YouTube. My name's Rebecca Brown. I have blonde hair. I have blue eyes. Look at my teddy bear. Isn't it fabulous? That's all you do.
Maybe that is all I do.
Well, at least I have friends.
I talked in my assessment about how YouTube enabled me to learn how to be neurotypical, and of course it didn't work in offline environments. Getting ready for YouTube is not the same as getting ready to leave the house. In the moment when I create and post and vlog like this, I am on my own, and that isolation enables me to have a voice.
Because I just love vlogging and creating videos and things.
I have to admit, I can't vlog all the time. I have to be in a certain mindset. It does take a certain level of confidence that I don't always have. I don't have the energy to video today. It's not necessarily that I'm faking this, but sometimes I can come across as though I am bursting with energy and bursting with confidence. See, this is where Rebecca fools the entire world. It doesn't help that a lot of the time I use jump cuts, so it cuts between the frustration, I don't put in the clips of me crying and getting frustrated. This is so difficult. No, this is gonna be... yeah. Right, come on, Becky.
And breathe out. Okay, hey everybody, today is...
For me, editing is like putting a puzzle together. I have to fiddle around with these words until I get an outcome that conveys what I want to say.
I can open up on the internet, but I can't open up to people.
I just find interacting with people hard. When I'm thrown into social situations, I'm sort of replaced by this shy, anxious person who can barely keep eye contact. I look at their forehead or look at their eyebrows, so it looks like I'm making eye contact, but I'm not. Or I mask so severely that I think I'm presenting as neurotypical, but actually I'm freaking people out. It's uncomfortable. This is me in an extreme masked state. Most of 2016 is me like that. But even when I'm masking lightly, it's not okay. It's not maintainable. It's not a solution. I can't mask for the rest of my life. 3 decades is already too much. Then there's the questions, is it okay to mask? Is my masked self acceptable? Understanding myself from this perspective is so new for me. People have fallen in love with my masked self, both via the internet and in person, so there's this pressure to revert to what I think is my masked self. And that's sad. I get so angry at how I feel I can't be me. I pretend to be tough, I pretend to be strong. I pretend to have my life together when in fact I don't. There are times where I don't think I am masking, or I'm just so relaxed with the situation I'm in, when I'm happy, loved or accepted. It's hard to sit here and talk about this, even more so because I don't fully understand myself at the moment. How can I even present a form of myself to you today? I just don't know. It's really cliche when you say you don't know yourself. I feel like I understand myself and I'm lost within myself simultaneously, and it's a unsettling place to be. Masked or unmasked, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem, it's me. Yeah, whatever. Receiving a diagnosis at any age is powerful. This is a late diagnosis for something that's always been there. Life-changing and life-affirming at the same time. Like the years I've spent talking about this and not been listened to. I've been through a lot, so to receive this diagnosis after everything I have been through, and also after the fight to be taken seriously for this, the validation that I feel on the back of this is intense. This is heavy.
I'm angry all the time. I feel alone.
I feel so alone.
Alone. Every single day of my life. It's not that I think that I'm the only one dealing with what I'm dealing with. No, not at all. But in my own sphere, I feel alone.
I've been like this my whole life. My emotions are all over the place. I keep laughing and then crying. There's this form of acceptance.
It makes what I've been through valid. It's like someone just saying I did my best.
It's just affirmation of everything I have been through and why everything has happened in the way that it has. For example, I've been on antidepressants designed for a neurotypical dealing with depression and anxiety, when in fact I'm a neurodivergent person who may deal with depression and anxiety, but my issues stem from my neurodivergence, not from being depressed and anxious.
A lot of what I have been through on the back of reaching out for support has actually made me worse.
I have a whole list of medications in my history that have just made my life worse. If we go right back to the beginning, I started citalopram back in 2010, and that didn't work. Medication made me really ill.
I'm not finding them helpful. Recently I went back for help to say I was very unhappy, and they've just raised my medication again to a very high dosage.
They haven't worked. I've started new medication. I have now come off quetiapine. I've been given some more medication. I have been up to the highest dosage you can have on this, and it's still not helped. But I'm going to try it again. Finished with sertraline. So here we go. Mirtazapine. Marzipan for short. I've been told to stop taking mirtazapine immediately. He's also recommending that I change medication. My GP now believes the only thing that we're standing on now is the autism assessment, whenever that will be. So I'm on my own. Got to keep ploughing forwards and get to that. At 28, they wanted me to go on fluoxetine, and again at 29. Because I don't have a diagnosis, nobody in the healthcare system is talking to me as a neurodivergent person who is even struggling in that sphere, and I am still being medicated and seen as a neurotypical dealing with depression and anxiety. And I have kept saying no. I've had enough.
I shouldn't feel scared of saying that things aren't going very well or my medication isn't working, because that is the truth.
But this is my experience.
We need to try this medication, you need to do this therapy, you need to do this, you need to do this, and nothing works. And so the more I try, the worse it gets, and then you're sort of made to be a bad human being when this would explain why. Because there's been so many occasions where I've had even GPs, nurses just say to me, you're not trying hard enough.
You're not even trying to be happy. Just put the effort in. If I'm hurting, it's because I am, not because I want to hurt. Autism isn't something you have. It's not something that can be cured. It's not something you eradicate with enough hard work or medications or therapy. Depression and anxiety you deal with. Autism is something you are. You don't have autism, you are autistic. Just to stress, you can be neurodivergent and also deal with mental health conditions. The point is that we have a disability that has been for our entire lives diagnosed as this. Sometimes things are mental health and other times it's just who you are. Those of us receiving a late diagnosis, like myself, we have decades of trauma because of that. It's like I've gone into battle having begged for help and been told I've been given a shield, when in fact actually I've had that arm tied behind my back. And now I'm dealing with all the wounds of said battle and it hurts. It hurts so much. And so there's a lot of self-acceptance, but also mourning for the life that I could have had I known that I was and am what I am and have been. I'm also fully aware that I am 30 and I've been dealing with this brain for 30 years and I know my experiences inside out. I have a super good autobiographical memory. The film that has been my life inside my brain is now receiving a commentary of me now understanding my neurodivergence in all these different experiences. And it's like the hard drive is too small for the amount of information that it's processing. My brain is exploding and imploding at the same time. I'm fried. I'm absolutely fried. The amount of footage I have of me talking about my difficulties across my lifetime is scary. Me talking about my life with a child's perspective, or a correct at the time understanding, but it's now not correct. It never was correct, but it was correct with the understanding I had at that time. At the end of the day, it feels like it doesn't matter what labels I'm given. There's still something wrong. I've just got to be normal. Normal? I don't know. To try and control my depressive mindsets, the depression periods, that sort of stuff. I just know that something isn't right. The depression, the social anxiety, the introvertedness, and the trichotillomania. I am actually severely introverted. The low self-esteem, I need to work on it. My past self is not necessarily irrelevant, but what she's going through is now completely shifted. It's all an absolute mush, so this is really difficult. There's also those understanding and acceptance years, so I would say between 2018 and 2021. But I still couldn't talk in concretes because I didn't have the diagnosis. Until that diagnosis, I hadn't the permission. I can't really talk about things. I can't sit here and say that I am autistic. I don't want my present self to go around saying things and find in 5 years' time it's not correct either. I don't know what terms to use. I don't know what's appropriate. I don't want to offend. A lot of people don't accept that you are what you are until you have a diagnosis. You can't just self-diagnose, which I understand. It's like I'm living my life whilst waiting for a diagnosis. It can give me that assurance that I am what I am thinking I am and what other people think I am. It's taken me 3 decades to get to the point I'm at. Within my own understanding, I can absolutely 100% understand how other people out there will not understand. I get it, I absolutely do, because I have been there. Right up until my early 20s, I didn't understand autism at all. I can see how other people looking in would get angry, and they have. I've been subjected to so much scrutiny and anger about this dating back into the 2010s. I'm frightened of the response, I'm frightened of the anger that will come my way, regardless of how well I try. And if anything, it's not that I want everybody to believe me, because I know my own brain and I know the difficulties I've been through, and I don't need the internet to affirm back to me something of which I am concrete in. At the end of the day, it's not your brain, it's my brain. It's not your life, it's mine. You're not my doctors, you're not my nurses, you're not my therapists. The internet is not my doctor. But then it's not just a case of, oh, I don't care what people think, because what people think will impact my life. So, for example, work. When you're in the education system, when you are a child, there's a safety net. There were no massive repercussions for being open. Whereas as an adult, as a professional working adult, there are. When you're going through difficulties with your brain and trying to get jobs and trying to just move forwards in the adult world, it's not good. I hate it. I know I need to be true to myself and all that jazz. Oh, don't worry about the stigma, just open up, etc. It'll be fine. No, it's not that easy. opening up about various things within my life and being honest just makes things worse. I'm not ashamed, but it's tough. When you share to the world. Nowadays, everything can sort of impact your future and employment, and that can then impact your earnings and therefore everything. Right, unemployment. Let's talk about the workplace. I've always had social problems, but this year it's reached a point where it has stopped me working. I can't do job interviews. Job interviews are a nightmare. Yes, I am an autistic person who works, but that's not because everything's been okay. I've had no choice but to keep pushing, to keep fighting. Whereas when I was 16, I still had a roof over my head. Now, if I don't push through it, then I can't pay my bills. I'm having to just deal with things on my own. When you're not diagnosed, there is no choice. Nobody cares. Without a diagnosis, being at the job centre, and I'm going through that whole process, it's just complicated and upsetting and stressful. See? I'm just... So, in short, things are bad. Anyway, I'm home. We are still in a situation in society where autism and ADHD, but specifically the autism, is still so stigmatised. Some people genuinely don't understand and that's fine, but oh, it's frustrating. Right now, I need to pay my bills. And then you're probably thinking, well, why are you posting this video today? Because I've been suffering for years in silence and I need to breathe. Gosh, stop. For those of you asking if I'm high functioning or low functioning, I have been told by the diagnostics team that that is an outdated way of talking about being autistic. They have refused to diagnose me as one or the other. The diagnostics team have sent me a big report along with my diagnosis. You're not just sent a letter that says you are autistic, ba-boom tish. There's a letter to the GP and then there's a letter that outlines your disability. It is classed as a disability. It's a protected characteristic. Something you can send to employers. I need to inform the DVLA, that sort of stuff. But I also get a big report. Which I'm not going to share because it's an intricate portrait of my life. Some would say this is me disclosing today. In my outcome appointment, they spoke to me about disclosing. They gave me a document, the pros and cons of disclosing. For me, I looked at that and didn't know how to process that because also I didn't feel like I had a choice. Obviously I did, but it didn't feel like I did. Millions upon millions of people have viewed my content across my lifetime. I've had millions of people watching me suffer, just deteriorate. The level of harassment I've had for opening up has really taken its toll. I've been torn to shreds. When my mental and physical health are obliterated, it's soul-crushing. And I have this overwhelming feeling to scream to the rooftops, this is why I have struggled so much. This is why things have been bad and have been as bad as they have been. It's not that I'm a bad person, it's not that I'm a toxic person, it's not that I'm a negative person. My brain works differently and it always has done. I can never speak to all the people that have seen me. Some of the people in my life that I want to talk to about this have died. This is too complicated to talk about. I just didn't have a choice. If you understand neurodivergence, then maybe it puts my difficulties in a different light. And this is the weird thing. In me opening up about my diagnosis, many of you have written in and said, that's why you connected with me over the years, because you too are neurodivergent. That's overwhelming. Moving forwards though. So that was my update. For me, this has been a super summarised video. There are thousands of words inside my brain. It's like I'm screaming on all these different cylinders and only whispers come out. There's things I'm thinking and feeling in the present and also in the past as well that I just... It's complicated. I can't go down all of the tangents. I'm happy to talk about it, but it just is so exhausting because you could say thousands of words for each element of what I'm trying to say. My brain does hurt about this, and also I'm sharing this with the world, so that is kind of even harder to... The potential of me struggling with ADHD as a battle is still going on, but this is one success. Being assessed and diagnosed as being autistic. That took long enough.
You know, this has been what feels like 3 decades of my life building to this point.
This is the latest ginormous chapter in this journey. This is why things have been as bad as they have been. This is why the struggles may get worse for a period. I don't know. Everyone's telling me that everyone sort of dips post-diagnosis and then comes back up. I don't know. I don't know. But this is why struggles will continue. I need to find a way to move forwards. I don't even feel like I can put an end stamp on this video, say goodbye, cover the camera, because this is my life. It just continues. How can I close a video with this? Back in 2015, I said this. Maybe I will be completely better when my hair is down to my chest. Who knows? Not that everything is okay, but we're at the point we're at, and my hair is the length it is. So with that, I'm gonna say goodbye. And we take a deep breath out. There's always a moment right near the end of editing where I think to myself, that's it. And I love that moment. I treasure that moment. So when that moment happens, I just sit in my chair and go, yes. Oh, already. Right, go, 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 go. And deep breath in. Done! We are done!